Now, here we see, RAQ is released from the hospital. She's back at the house, and Kanan still isn't dealing with her. In the midst of the emergency and whatnot, he was there, but she's alive. Things have calmed down for the time being, but he's not rolling with RAQ, And so, there's this continuation of this thing where, he doesn't live with RAQ. He doesn't want to have anything to do with her. Marvin isn't trying to hear that. You'll see this thing where, and it goes back to the first season, where RAQ runs things out in the streets, and we see some instances where it's like she'll tighten Kanan up, yes, but for the most part, like, she's a little bit soft with him, and he is where he is now because she didn't firmly shut it down in the first season, this thing of him getting involved in the streets, right? Like, she gives him a little bit too much leeway. And not to say that Marvin is right either, because we see his parenting, or we've seen his parenting in the past. But when Kanan pushes back against her, like, she's like, fine, whatever. And doesn't really want to get into it with him. But you see, like, Marvin, like, attempts to tighten him up, And it's like, RAQ is too soft on Kanan, is pretty much what it is. She's hard on him in ways that aren't beneficial to his development. But then it's like, in other areas, she's kind of soft. There's like, and it goes back to this thing that he mentioned, if you think back to the first season, of her like being kind of wishy-washy, where it's like, obviously he's her son, she loves him, but it's like, she's soft and gives him leeway and lets him get his own way with certain things, or involves him with the business in certain things. But then it's like, in the areas where she should be more firm and disciplined with him, she's not. It's like, she sends mixed signals with her parenting. She's not, like, consistent is really what the issue is. And it creates instances, it allows Kanan to kind of be Kanan. It's like, look at how things change, we started out the show with, like, RAQ and Kanan being like this, and Marvin and Jukebox having problems in their relationship, And here it is that you have like this turnabout where RAQ and Kanan's relationship is pretty much non-existent. RAQ is reaching out. Kanan isn't really trying to hear it. But then on the flip side of it, you have where Marvin and Jukebox's relationship, not that it's perfect, but you see them both making an effort. Or rather, you see Marvin making more of an effort to repair that relationship. Him now being there for her, especially with, like, the loss of her mother, him going out of his way to, even, like, before the loss of her mother, right? Like, the drama that she had with her mom the last season, him now making the effort to kind of step up and not just be a dad to her, but to also support her during this time of dealing with the loss of her mother, right? This thing of him reaching out where, like, he comforts her. Where in the past, like, this thing of him being, like, super macho and super hard and whatnot, we see him expressing more of his vulnerability. And as a part of that, it's helping to, like, repair his relationship with Jukebox. Whereas on the flip side of it, RAQ, rather than, like, coming clean and being honest with Kanan, her telling him lies has severely damaged their relationship. Like, bear in mind, Marvin has done wrong in his relationship with Jukebox, right? Especially at the end of the first season. But him sincerely apologizing, correcting his ways, correcting his actions, not repeating those actions, and making a true and honest effort to change and to communicate with her, to apologize, to explain himself, to express himself, especially in a healthy or healthier way, has done wonders for their relationship. Whereas on the flip side of it, you have where RAQ apologizes, but she does so insincerely. She tells him she's going to be honest. She tells Kanan she's going to be honest with him while telling him lies. And it's like, she just can't help but to lie. As I mentioned in the past, or in past seasons, like, RAQ and Howard have, like, kind of cross paths on occasion. It's usually him reaching out to her. We see the two of them meet up on what looks like a rooftop to discuss Kanan and what's taking place and whatnot. He's very, very weird with RAQ. You know, obviously at this point they're now grown. I think RAQ is like completely over whatever they might have had when she was young, because she realizes now as a grown woman that it was wrong. You know, again, I just don't like the character of Howard. He's just very, very problematic. And it's like his whole obsession with RAQ even now is just, it's icky. You know, and I don't know if it was like she was supposed to have something in her hair or on her face or whatever, and he went to, and it's like, you don't know this woman. Tell her she's got something on her face or she's got something in her hair and have her remove it. Like, don't touch her. You know, he's just, I don't know. I think he's just gross. You know? So, you then have where they go over to speak to Kanan, kind of to explain the situation to him, to get him on the same page so that he knows what's going on and kind of tightens up and carries himself accordingly, right? Because this thing here, everyone staying out of trouble, requires everyone to play their part. And, you know, Kanan is upset with RAQ, understandably so. He's living in, like, this raggedy apartment with Famous. And, like, that apartment looks absolutely gross, you know. But anyway, and so RAQ and Howard show up, and it kind of gives you that feeling of like when you have a kid and they're like misbehaving in school and their parents who can't really stand each other have to like show up for like a conference with like the teacher or the principal or something like that. That's like the vibe that you get in here. You know, where it's like the two of them don't really deal with each other like that, but they're like coming together to see about Kanan. You know, which I guess is like a positive, you know, like they care. But they're both like really messed up individuals. So it's like, you know, good luck to Kanan in your development, because with these two as your parents, it's no wonder he became the person that he became later on, because, you know, Howard is a weirdo, RAQ is very problematic, but it makes for great television.